Hello and welcome to the Kundalini podcast. That was Zen. This is Thou. I'm Vivek Govekar. This is episode 67. Um, Today I'd like to talk about the numerical significance of certain things that you see in life, like numbers that you see and what their significance is to your life. I've been asked this question before by a few different people about what does it mean when I see 1111 all the time, or 777 or 333. There's another video that I have made, I think it's episode 33, where I discuss the significance of the number 33. And it is the 33 bones of the vertebrae, and the Kundalini energy rises through those 33 levels. But what I was not aware of is the significance of other numbers. And I started focusing on this after people asked me questions. Until then, I had not given it much thought. The Kundalini, as it unfolds, you don't get everything all at once. Or even if you get all the knowledge, it takes some time. I have mentioned things like psychic abilities. So, for example, how when I get thoughts, I get scared. Why do I get this thought? And I get confused about a lot of things like, oh, does it mean this? Does it mean that? And to the outside world, it seems like this person is crazy. What's he saying? But what has happened is you have had that thought and something has come into your life. But it's like a code and you have to decode that mechanism. And once you decode it, but for that you need to be quiet, be still, be silent. And the right code appears and you know, oh, this is what's going to happen. Until then, that code is obvious to the subconscious mind. You are acting on it, but you don't know why. And now slowly the subconscious mind is making the conscious mind aware of what that code was. Let me give you an example. I was watching a TV show and suddenly a friend of mine from when I was in college, his face flashed in front of my eyes. And I'm like, why am I seeing this guy? And this is not just any thought. These Kundalini thoughts, once you are awakened and the thoughts that flash, it's like, oh, signal, pay attention to this signal. And you are still not sure of what that means. But the energy is showing you things from your past, things that you've already seen, to indicate something that's going to come. And I'm like, what's going on? So I'm watching this TV show, and this friend of mine flashes in front of me. And he's doing things that he usually doesn't do. Like this guy is a very bold person. And he is acting like a complete coward and cowering in front of someone. Like, what? So the next thing that's happening on that show is a battle scene. And this character appears suddenly on the screen. And this guy has a very similar face to my friend. So what the energy is showing me is, okay, this scene is about to appear. But it has access to my memories and only those thoughts and those things from my past that it can show me. So it showed me this friend of mine who the face is very similar to this character that showed up. And in the battle, he gets scared and he doesn't know what to do. He panics and he goes and jumps overboard from a ship. And immediately that mate says, that's what it was showing me. Now, this has taken me 10 years to get to this point where these signals, these premonitions are slowly being obvious to me. Now, the outside world, sometimes people are trying to send you signs and signals and you become a little less tuned to that because inside all of this is going on and you're getting signals, now you're becoming this person who can see the future, like the immediate future, 5-10 minutes in the future, what's going to happen. But if you don't know that you saw that as a signal and you only see it after it happens, it's useless. But this is how it happens, is you see something from your past, something that was a memory, and those images flash right in front of your eyes. So how do people see psychic visions and remote viewing? This is how. I'm telling you as it is happening to me. Again, I have promised in my videos never to tell you anything unless I have been very sure that it is real, that I have tested it myself and made sure that this is happening. But this has been happening for many years now. Sometimes the ability is low because my power is low, like I'm just struggling with day-to-day stuff. Sometimes it's strong. Usually in summertime, the energy is very strong. And in the past, I couldn't assimilate it. It just became agitation, and that just became wild behavior. Now, I'm channeling it towards the right purposes. That clarity of thought, that power is being not spent outwardly in agitation or being caught up in other people's agitation, and being channeled towards clarifying even further what is being given to me. So this is one wonderful example. And slowly I have started seeing these numbers. And because people had asked me these questions, they were leading me up to that. It was like, oh, okay, now I know what's going on. Now I know what people are showing me, or this energy is showing me. So yeah, I started reading these books. One of them is by this lady called Doreen Virtue. I think she has the most authoritative books on this subject. And these are called angel numbers. So these powers that are beyond our understanding, even for an awakened person, some powers are beyond your understanding. And you're slowly learning them. And then you understand them. Then it's like, it's becoming clear. But practice is required. So now, whenever a number like that flashes in front of me, and I have become a lot more tuned to these numbers and watch them all the time. They have to be random. Remember that. You're going on a random trip somewhere and you see a number plate of a car that you, on a road where you have never been before, you didn't plan to be on that road, and it's showing you, say, for example, 999 or some other number. You have a receipt from something you bought in a store, and on that, some number, some serial number, something somewhere has added up to like the number of reward points you got from a card, loyalty card, 555. Things like that that happen randomly, and that's a signal. Because then things happen according to that. The next thing that comes into your life has a significance to that. And yes, now I agree with it. Now I'm not saying, this is just nonsense, because I've tried it, tested it, experimented, paid attention to it, focused on it, and that's what it is. So yes, those things, pay attention to them. Those numbers like 1111 and 666 and 777 and 888. By the way, the 666 thing, which has been given such a bad name, has a lot more interpretations to that. You can choose to be fearful and have fear as your motivation, but I would recommend not having the fear motivation. Like, for example, in astrology, I haven't talked too deeply about astrology, but Saturn is considered to be a very malefic planet, a bad planet that brings bad things in your life. But what it is really doing is cleansing you. It's how you choose to get in touch with that energy, how to make use of that energy to cleanse yourself, to remove some obstacles from your life by facing those fears, by facing those obstacles. Similarly, these numbers are there for you. If you believe in God, if you believe in a higher power, you just use it as a guidance mechanism. And in my life, I have now discovered that yes, things like that do matter, and you do need to pay attention to them. So to answer the question of people who have asked me about the significance of things like 1111 and other numbers that flash in front of you, do pay attention to them. Read books by Doreen Virtue. I'm learning this myself along with you as I'm telling you this, because this is new for me. And follow the significance, follow these numbers and what significance they provide to you. That is something that I would like to discuss in this episode. Other things that have happened in my life recently, as I have said, I use the solstices and the equinoxes to cleanse myself, to cleanse my body. But a day-to-day cleansing is required, really. And having other responsibilities in life sometimes puts this process on the back burner. So you have to just limit it to the number of things that you absolutely need to do, what is absolutely necessary. And so this cleansing, what I've realized is alternate nostril breathing, grounding, doing a ritual where I sit in a tub with water and cleanse myself, allow things to pass through me, ground the energy to release itself properly, has to be done daily, regardless of how busy I am and whatever I'm doing, especially if I'm busy, if I'm going to have a busy day at work. I come back and do that process and a number of steps in that ritual. And more things are revealed More of the junk from the past goes away, and because of that, old patterns are gone. We keep saying patterns, but what does it mean? It means you repeat an action. A trigger mechanism makes you do certain things and do them over and over again. You get rid of that. The trigger doesn't even bother you. The trigger doesn't even look like a trigger or how it looked like in the past. So naturally, there is no action to be repeated afterwards. You didn't see it as a trigger. You were involved in something else, possibly on a higher level, at a higher plane of vibration. And your pattern, if a new pattern is being set up, is of a higher vibration. Older triggers, older patterns are gone. And which is why randomness is important. Sometimes there is something called the I Ching, which is a divination mechanism. People use the I Ching to see into the future and to guide their actions. And people say, oh, this is again nonsense. What's this? Like astrology. But no. If nothing else, look at the I Ching as a randomization mechanism. You are drawing random cards or numbers from those hexagrams and looking at the message given in that hexagram. It is a wonderful way to break old patterns. If you use a randomizing technique and follow that and trust it, well, then the old pattern cannot stay. Stagnant energy, tamasic energy cannot stay in you for too long. So that is the ideal way to use the I Ching without any baggage or understanding or trying to make it too scientific and think with a rational mind. Randomization. You randomize something, you're breaking an old pattern. You're creating a new pattern. You're looking at these numbers, you use them for guidance, and then see what happens. See how they affect you. Right? Don't do anything with like complete blindness and not using your intellectual faculties, but don't get too bogged down by rationalism and intellectualism, because mysticism does exist. Wonder, awe, the mystery of life and these mysterious things should be taken that way without some cynical rationalization of and scientific cherry picking of science. Everybody's a armchair psychologist these days. Oh, bipolar, schizophrenic, this that. Did you go to medical school? Did you get a degree? Then you don't know anything. And that is just one way of looking at the world. Remember, when you look at a bird, now that I'm awakened, I take pictures. Usually, I used to be with these people who are bird photographers. They would take a picture of a bird, they would identify it, name it. Now, the composition was lacking, the art was lacking, and the name of the bird was given by some scientist, some ornithologist, a couple of 100 years ago. What is the bird? What is its identity? What drives it? You gain that knowledge by observing the bird. And then the images that come out are just beautiful. Images of a seagull flying above a sunset. Does it matter what it was called? So this is a little bit of a left brain, right brain fusion. This is the result of it. You stop worrying too much about the classification, categorization, naming of things. And you enjoy things as they are without the labels, without what they were called someday, or the need to know that, or worrying yourself too much about that. And you start seeing the wonder, the mystery. And that's how life should be lived. I hope you found this helpful. Thank you for watching. Be well.